You're welcome back. You're still watching Business Incorporated. Well, South Africa's unemployment rate surged to the highest on the global list of 82 countries. The jobless rate rose to 34.4% in the second quarter from 32.6% in the 3 months through March. The unemployment data is likely to deteriorate in the third quarter because the government tightened COVID-19 curbs in the face of a third wave of infections, hindering efforts to revive the economy. Well, let's have this conversation with Matt Kindiga to tell us some of the implication of this. Hello, Matt. Good to have you. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for having me on the show today.
Yeah, so we see this high level of unemployment in South Africa. We know COVID-19 is a global impact. And then in July, of course, we had the crisis, that obviously has contributed to this.
Yes, certainly. So July's unrest certainly has been a big factor contributing to unemployment in South Africa. But it's worth mentioning that the record high levels of unemployment that were reported during the second quarter of 2021 don't take into account the effects of this unrest. So when we see Q3 data released, which is probably going to be towards the end of this year, we are expecting unemployment to climb even further. So certainly the unrest during July has likely destroyed workplaces. It will have a longer term effect on investment into the market as well, which will affect job creation for sure. So certainly we are expecting unemployment data to actually get worse in South Africa before it gets better.
So is this just an effect of COVID?
No, it's not necessarily. The country's high unemployment rate is not just an effect of COVID. So the country is facing long-term structural difficulties with its labor market. It does have very rigid labor market laws, so some of the toughest in sub-Saharan Africa. It also has had a very long period of weak economic growth, which has not kept up with population growth. So what we've seen is the creation of jobs has not really been quick enough to ensure that unemployment remains low. And this has been compounded by the fact that there is a skill shortage in South Africa because the education system in South Africa is not producing enough skilled school leavers or university graduates. So even though there are a number of industries with job shortages or skill shortages, there are a large number of South Africans who don't have the skills to fill these jobs. So there are a number of factors, number of structural factors that have contributed to high unemployment in South Africa. COVID is just one of them. COVID has aggravated the situation, but it's not the only reason.
All right, so any expectation of the government changing its policy or tapering, the rigidity to make it easier and to buffer or deal with this unemployment issue?
Certainly. So the government is painfully aware of the need to deal with it. And I think there are two things we could look at. One is how the government is trying to create jobs, and the other is how it is dealing with the social problems created by high unemployment. So the government has tried to, in terms of trying to create jobs, the government has tried to minimize tax increases this year on businesses because it doesn't want to affect business sentiment. It wants to ensure that businesses can hire where possible, so their tax bills aren't as high. It's also tried to support investment into employment-generating infrastructure projects. So that is one area of government spending that is increasing, government investment that is increasing. So trying to create jobs that way. It's also trying to reduce, it's probably going to be forced to reduce the number of civil service redundancies. So the government was trying to reduce the number of people on the public sector wage bill, but it's probably going to try to slow this down a bit because it doesn't want to create more unemployment. In terms of labor market laws, it's probably going to struggle to make labor market laws more flexible, and this is because of very powerful trade unions in South Africa. But we are likely going to see an increase in social welfare payments, more generous unemployment benefits, and this will probably be paid for through higher taxes on personal incomes among wealthier South Africans. So certainly some tax increases to come, but also sort of state-led employment generation initiatives are expected.
All right, thank you so much, Matt, for joining us and helping us to understand some of those things in South Africa. Matt Kiniga is Associate Practice Lead at Sub-Saharan Africa Front of View. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, you too.